Hey y'all, welcome back to the ranch. I'm Jared Paul and happy Easter. Today is a beautiful brisk morning here in Northwest Connecticut, so I'm going to take advantage of it and prune up the trees that I've been growing in my garden beds for like an urban dory concept, suburban dory, as there's no city here. And we're going to prune those up. We're going to prune some of the entryway trees, my weeping Norwegian spruce, and many others. So what I'm going to do is set up the tripod, maybe introduce the trees, and then do a quick pruning. I'm going to try to keep this video within a reasonable amount of time. A lot of work to do. So that's what's coming up on today's episode of Jarhead Bonsai. All right, so my Norwegian spruce. I've been thinking about keeping this as a gin, or maybe even thinking, something might bud off of that. But over the past couple years, it's just sitting there. I've had the time to think about it, and I don't want it. So there's a bunch of little dead branches in here that are just an eyesore. So like this one, just taking those out today. This is a bigger cut. So I've spent $7, $8 on terrible pruners at discount stores over the past 3 years. So figure $8 plus tax, you're at about 25 bucks. So this year I said, you know what, I'm going to get myself some nice pruners. So I got these. Corona is the brand, and they have these hand gel grips that protect you from getting your hand crimped in there. Because once I'm pruning away, say on like a big tree on a landscaping project, you're not thinking about it, all of a sudden you get the crotch of your thumb and pointer caught in there, and it is brutal. So aside from the actual awesome cutting feature, these things are great. Once I repotted these a couple of years ago, I haven't touched them. They looked rough. We had a really cold winter, and then this past year we had pretty much a drought all summer. So I'm like, well, if it hasn't come back by now, it's not coming back, so let's clean it up. I think the overall structure of the tree I'm liking. I just wanted, get that dead stuff out of there. So this is one of two matching at the entryway to my driveway. This is my favorite. It's the fullest canopy. He's been in training with me about 6 years. All right, cool. All right, this is the second of the two at the entryway. Similar thing down low. This branch is dead. Every time I get the mail, bring the trash down the driveway, basically anytime I walk out of the driveway or down this way, I'm looking at these trees going, okay, what am I gonna do? What am I gonna do? Or am I not gonna do? So this one still has this healthy side, but this is all dead, and this is pretty straggly and down lower than everything else. So I'm just gonna take the whole branch out. Cool. So not too much on that one. So this is the third Norwegian spruce. This one we call Bob Marley. Didn't match the others, so rightfully so. It's in a unique spot because it is a unique tree. Fully weeping over. We have a poster of young Bob Marley performing, and he's kind of got his head over to the side with his dreads weeping, This looks like a guitar coming back across. Maybe it's a bit of a stretch, but since day one, that's what it reminded me and Laura of, so that's what we call them. Might change the angle on this one someday. I'm not sure. right here next to it in this garden. This is a Colorado blue spruce that I absolutely butchered my first year in bonsai, and I thought, okay, I have 3 weeping Norwegian spruce, let me change this blue spruce into a weeping. So I took out all the vertical growth, and then when it grew back like a blue spruce. So it just looked absolutely terrible. So I had let this one grow for 4 years untouched. So once again, I'm just cleaning off some dead stuff. This branch down here looks pretty weak. So I'm gonna take it out. Some buds, little buds coming out towards the crotch of some of the branches. It's way too far along to want any of those to develop. So I just pluck those out by hand. Again, another crappy branch out back here. It's just kind of straight, straggly. Taking that one out. So I'm going to let this one fill in again this year. And I think with removing some of these branches, then I could really start to develop it. I've been looking at these 2 back here. This one's nice and healthy and strong, kind of matches the branch structure of the other ones. This one just comes out straight, singular, starting to develop some strength, but it's way towards the end. So I'm going to take that out too. This part of this branch is coming in towards this little guy. So now everything kind of has its own room. This hanging one looks weak, too far inside. There's been some little ones in here I'll just remove. It must have been the past couple years because they're way smaller and thinner than the rest of the growth on the tree. Boom. Cool. All right, so this is my Fraser fir, and it started just completely full. They were sold 3 to 4 feet tall is what it said. So I'm saying with the root ball was probably 4.5 feet. I have this planted in a burlap sack and some wire. So it's covered in additional soil and mulch chips, but it's not actually planted in the ground. So this year what I wanted to do with it was take out a lot of the branches that were uninteresting and not do any of the regular little pruning on the branches I'm keeping, so that they could just get a ton of energy and I could work with them next year, or maybe towards the middle of fall once they've really fully come in. I want this to transition, now that it has a beautiful great trunk exposed, I want it to transition into more of a garden tree with strong branches that have pads on them, separate pads. I don't want it to be a full Christmas tree anymore. So that's why I'm going to be removing the branches. I've done this one in stages, you know. I cut it really hard back. I let it grow fully out. I'm just going to nip the apex here because there's a couple of buds that are extra that I don't want or need. And then looking at it, you know, if it's just a straight, uninteresting branch, it's way far in, like so. There's one right below it. Expose a little more trunk. Little one here is pointless. Just basically looking through the tree, and if there is a branch kind of mirroring another branch within that same location, I'm taking it out, because if I want a certain branch to stand out, I'm not going to keep a similar one right with it. It'll end up just looking really full. Another singular branch. split in there early on. That's what I'm really looking for. Some nice separation this year. Boom, this little guy here. So these were rated up to 3.75 of an inch. So pretty cool, about 2 centimeters. And they're strong. I have broken my right hand a number of times. And so it is not as strong as it used to be. These seem great. I didn't read any reviews. I just went to a good store and trusted their judgment. It seems to be working out. That one. That. This one's coming up into this guy's space. Then there's no room. Yeah. Just kind of a ring, all at the same height going around here of branches. So for a Christmas tree, that's perfect. But if I'm trying to get separate pads, it's not. So essentially, landed on 2 that I'm keeping down at that level. Don't know where the front will be after this. I guess the tree will tell me. Extra one here. Do we like you or do we like you? I don't like you. And we don't like you. These two are intersect. Boom. You're gonna bother you. This one's terrible. This one's terrible. It's pretty easy once you get going. Leave the apex by itself. This one's just kind of coming out of the trunk, coming back towards the trunk, and then straight up. Ugly. This one's straight out. Straight. Boom, boom. I prefer this one coming out a little more horizontally than this one going straight up. Lots of hard prunings, lots of hard prunings. There's vertical growth in here, no sense in letting that develop. This branch actually splits nicely in there early on. That's nice. Pop, pop, pop. Couple growing back towards the tree, don't want that. This side of here. I think that opened it up nicely. Gosh, it kind of leaves that bare, but it doesn't at the same time. I gotta take this one out. I just like this branch that's below it and this one that was above it and to the side just so much more. Last one I'm gonna take out is right here. Pretty short. Yeah, I think that I could do something with this. Let it fill in nicely this year. See how that trunk got nice and gray? Age looking. Well, I guess we'll see. This is my Rose of Sharon. Roots over quartz rock. So hopefully that'll come back this year. That was a Yamadori project from last year. All right, so we've got this maple. Not quite ready to come out of here yet. It's right up against the hydrangea, which is fine. Basically, I've just been pruning it down to a trunk each year. And I might dig this one out like, I don't know, early next month. And sell it at the farmer's market. I have enough personal trees, even with the potential ones I lost from mouse invasion. So I don't need any more personal trees. But we've got 20 weeks of farmer's market selling trees and plants, so hopefully ones like that will go. Get a little closer look at it. Not much to it, but it grew itself, so I'm not gonna let it go to waste. All right, so I have a few more Rose of Sharon. These ones have never been dug up. They grow off of these mama ones over here. And this one I think is 2.5, 3 years old. Again, I might dig this one up for sale this year. Dug a bunch up and potted them last year. I'm not going to prune those because they spent their first winter in that pot, so I figured they need all the energy they could get. But these ones stayed in the ground. So these are a couple of maples here. This is a hickory that I'm trying to match up with another one I have for topiary style for like an entryway. All right, so just gonna kind of go down this row of bonsai, and they just all need a little nip. So this is a lantana. That one is still quite dormant, and that's a vine, so I'm not gonna mess with it yet. Here are 3 American sycamore or London plane. We'll only know once it's a more mature tree. And I left it really tall last year in its first prune. I'm just going to bring down the height a little bit here. Let's go with that outward facing bud. Boom. Da, 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 da. Boom. Boom. Right, weeping Japanese cherry. Just gonna nip the tips. I do want to develop longer flowing branches, so if it was a vertical growing tree, like a maple or a birch or something like that, you would typically prune back to the first set. But this one I'm going to leave a little bit longer. Hopefully we can get some branching and cascading going this year. This is a single American sycamore. It was the runt. So it's got some buds around back, so we'll just take that down. This was on the list for its first styling, this beautiful Japanese maple, but you see Mousy got it. So I'm hoping with all those swelling buds that it has enough energy to recover. I'm going to let it have all its energy possible. Rose of Sharon, just take down the height all around. Boom, boom. This one will never be good. And some dead stuff. Right. This is Jim Dandy Winterberry. Just gonna nip off the tips where there's any berries. I'm sure they would fall off naturally, but there we go. It's a little fugly branch, dead branch. Thing was ugly. So there's two trees in there. Now they got a nice shape. So here, these are a ton of volunteers, so we don't want any of them. It's a little birch that is growing itself. We'll let him come up. But these are basically shoots that come off the roots of this winterberry. Again, literally going to the base of each berry and pruning that branch off. These things grow crazy. The roots are even like crazier. So, sorry if this camera action isn't that good. It is not tripoded up, as you could tell. So this is one of my ugliest Yamadoris from the past. I don't know if this branch is still alive, but I'm gonna give it a chance. So why don't we just boom, just go along the top, nip the tips a little bit. Ugly branch. Oh yeah, that branch is probably dead, but we'll see if it buds out. Nature surprises me. This is a viburnum, and it's supposed to have white flowers, so it's already starting to bud out. So unless it's just a terrible branch like so growing into others, I'm gonna leave it, because the big leaves and hopefully big white flowers will just be beautiful. And then after they're done, I'll give it a good shaping, some attention. Like that branch going straight across in there, let's just get rid of it. All right, cool. So now we'll let that flower out. All right, my black locusts. There's a single, and a triple. The triple is the only one in a really shallow pot, and it's got a forest scene. So that one's going to require a lot of attention and a repotting this year, but we're going to end the video with these two. So just some old dead wood. This is crisscrossing with this. So why don't we take that out, nip that, growing inside. Up, up, up. Oh, that was sloppy, Jared. Come on. Cool. This guy over here, I've been looking at it, and it looks like this trunk entirely down the middle is dead. All of its branches. Yep, totally dead. And it was the ugliest part of the tree, so it's exciting. And they got tall. So sure this one's coming across. This one was boom, 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 boom. Prickers on these locusts are crazy, people, so be careful. I'm going to leave this guy for its own video. And over here, that is an Italian fig that's just taken torture over the years. Millie broke off a branch chewing it. It fell and broke a branch, and now the mouse got it. So we'll leave that. This little birch I might remove this year. It'll be its second year. So, yeah. All right, y'all, so that's going to do it for today's episode of Jarhead Bonsai. Hope you enjoyed yourselves. If you did, please like and subscribe. There's plenty more to come, especially in spring here at the ranch. So for my family, yours, happy Easter, and cheers.